Hey everyone, I recently disembarked the Norwegian Joy. Today we're going to do a little bit of a review and debrief and tell you all about my time. Let's go. Hey everyone, John here from Byte Size Cruises. Welcome back to the channel. I just disembarked the Norwegian Joy and now I am on the beautiful wonder of the seas. Today we're going to tell you all about my time on board of the Joy. I booked a 4-day voyage out of Miami on the Joy starting on Monday, and we went to Great Stirrup Key, which is the private island of Norwegian in the Bahamas. We went to Nassau, Bahamas, and then we had one sea day and then back to Miami, where then I jumped off on Friday and got on Wonder of the Seas. If you're new here and you've never seen one of these reviews and debriefs before, I'm going to go through a few different categories. I'm going to go through embarkation, I'm going to go through service, the ship overall, I'm going to talk about food, entertainment, the people, and then last but not least, disembarkation. First up, let's talk about embarkation. I had a 10 o'clock arrival at the port in Miami. Norwegian cruises out of Terminal B. It is called the Pearl of Miami. If you need to put it in your Uber, all of the other terminals are in there as A, C, D, whatever. For whatever reason, if you try to put in Terminal B, it doesn't show up. So just be aware if you're using an Uber or Lyft, you have to put in the Pearl of Miami, and it'll show up as Norwegian Cruise Terminal. So I got there about 5 of 10, easy going from my hotel. I stayed at the Grayson, which is right outside the cruise terminal. All you have to do is just cruise over the little bridge there into Dodge Island. So I got there right on time, went in, easy, smooth sailing. I had one issue. I went up, and now they're doing facial recognition where you don't have to show your passport. They pulled me out of line to show my passport for some reason. So I showed my passport, I went up, I then checked in. I had no issue checking in, keep that in mind for a second, and then sat down with my card. I had my little boarding pass for Sapphire ready to go. So as per normal in Miami, the Norwegian embarkation is slightly less organized than, say, Royal Caribbean or MSC. So they got ready to board. Generally, they start a little bit before 11. They announced at 11 that there was an issue with customs. They were coming from Colombia was the last port, so they had to do a very thorough customs inspection, which delayed embarkation for about 2 hours. So we sat there a long time. Finally got up, got ready to get in. I got in my line to go, and when I got up to scan my card, my picture wasn't there. So they pulled me out of line. I had to go back and get my picture taken, and then get back in line, get on board. No big deal. I was on board around 1 o'clock, between 12:30 and 1. Got on board, wandered around, had a little lunch at the local, and then waited around. Rooms were not ready until 4 because of the delay. They weren't able to get into the rooms to clean, apparently. So cabins weren't available till 4. That created a little bit of frustration around the ship. But otherwise, embarkation was fairly smooth with knowing that there were delays. The delays weren't really because of organization. It was more because of something that happened, so it held everything back. Other than that, smooth, everything ready to go. Now let's get into the ship itself. The ship is beautiful. It underwent a refurb last year. They added a beautiful additions to the thermal suite. They really cleaned things up. They made a lot of kind of cosmetic changes to the carpeting and the walls. It looks like a brand new ship. Judy and I were on Escape a few weeks ago. Joy, not much newer than Escape, looked way newer. It looked brand new compared to Escape. Looked far more like Encore and Bliss than Escape, which was kind of the base model in the Breakaway Plus class ships. But the ship is beautiful. Everything looks perfect. I didn't see any issues, no complaints about the ship. Everything is great. From the observation lounge, which is beautiful. There are 2 Starbucks on board. The pool is set up a little bit weird. Again, Joy, if you don't know, was built for the Asian market. It was retrofitted for America, so they changed a bunch of things. The casino was way bigger. They scaled that down a tiny bit. More shops, more specialty dining. They cut down a lot of those things. So it's now a fairly normal US version of a Norwegian ship. It just looks different with things in different places. And of course, there are go-karts at the top of the ship, which are really fun. So all of that, the ship looks great. Service, as per normal with Norwegian, was fantastic. All of my specialty dining service was great. All of the main dining room I went to, my room steward was very nice. I will say, more and more often on Norwegian now, I don't even see my room steward. I never met him. He never introduced himself to me. I never came around and said what time he was going to do the rooms. You barely see them. I think they have way too many cabins, and they seem overly stressed out about getting everything done. I will say, Judy and I are here on Wonder. We met our cabin steward the first day. He knocked on our door, introduced himself, told us what times he works, asked us what was better for us, morning or evening. And it's just seems like a much nicer experience. Not that the service wasn't great, just that I think that they're overwhelmed and it took all of his time just to get his work done and could no longer do any of the niceties that you normally get. So service is really good. Everything turned out great. However, you don't get that extra customer service wow that you used to get, I feel like, with Norwegian, and you just don't see it now, which we of course saw here on Royal Caribbean. Next up, let's talk about the entertainment. Of course, we were on Escape. The entertainment is fantastic on Escape. You have Choir of Man, you have the Rumor Show by Fleetwood Mac and the Sid Norman's crew. There's a bunch of other great things going on. Not quite as much on board of Joy, but I thought the entertainment was great. You have the Beatles story, which performs in the Cavern Club, which is kind of the same space that Sid Norman's occupies. But really, really great show. They did a bunch of shows in the Cavern Club and a bunch of shows in the theater. You had other shows in the theater that I thought were really good. Bring Back the 90s. I thought it was really, really fun show. And then you had the Wild Card show. Thought that one was good too, a little bit. Not as good as the Bring Back the 90s one, but everything I saw on the ship, the entertainment was great. If you are looking at weighing, say, between Escape, Joy, Encore, and Bliss, obviously Encore and Escape have Choir of Man, and I think that would push me towards one of those ships over Joy, or Bliss for that matter. Bliss used to have 2 Broadway shows. Bliss used to have 6 and Jersey Boys. It's really crazy. And now they don't. So it'd be really interesting to kind of see that, because those ships now have, they're focused on other kind of smaller shows, Norwegian-led shows. But I thought all the entertainment was great there as well. Next up, let's talk about the food. I ate in specialty dining every night. I went to Q Texas Smokehouse, Le Bistro. I went to teppanyaki on the first night, as is tradition, and Food Republic. Food Republic, Q Texas Smokehouse. Yep, got them all. Everything was great. Service was great. Food was fantastic. I ate in the main dining room a lot for breakfast. I ate breakfast and lunch sometimes at the local. I kind of got around everywhere, and I did room service for a meal too, just to compare it. And everything was really, really good. So I had a great experience with the food, as I normally do with Norwegian. I never eat dinner in the main dining room. I'm always pretty upfront and transparent about that. I just don't enjoy it. That experience is very long and drawn out to me. I prefer to spend a little bit extra money and go with food. I'd rather spend the money there than do a fancy excursion or something. It's just what I prefer. Everybody has their little things, so I know specialty dining is not for everyone, but I really enjoyed it, and I thought the food on board was great. We have the people, and we have Disembarkation. So let's talk about the people first. I thought all in all, the people felt like a very Norwegian crowd, which is a little more adult-oriented, not as many kids. It feels slightly more upscale than kind of Carnival MSC experience and Royal Caribbean. A little less family, a little more couple-oriented. There were a little more young, kind of party-ish crowd people on here because it's a 4-day cruise. Joy is doing 4 and 3s, just like Wonder is doing 4 and 3s. And I think that affects the crowd a little bit. It wasn't overly rowdy or crazy or anything wild. I just thought it was a little more of a younger demographic that was a little more party forward. But otherwise, I thought everything was fantastic with that. Real quick, as we talk about the people, I just wanted to make one notation on my room. I upgraded myself to a club balcony from an interior cabin. And one of the pitfalls when you upgrade late in the game, if you do the Norwegian upgrade or if you just call and do it, you don't have many choice of cabins. And with the Norwegian upgrade, they're just going to put you somewhere. And in mine, I got put in a beautiful club balcony suite, which was fantastic. It was the biggest room I've ever stayed in that wasn't a suite. However, I was right above the Sugar Cane Mojito bar. Not the end of the world, but something to keep in mind if you're looking at those type of things. They did have music in that bar until 10:30 every night, which worked out fine. I just showed up at like the glow party and the 80s party and all those, got a little bit of video filming done and did some things. And by the time I got back, the music was over. But if you are an early to bed person, that would not be a great fit for you. It was very loud. Like you would not have been able to go to sleep. It was like you were in the club listening to the music. So just something to be aware of, but it didn't affect me at all. Last but not least, let's talk about disembarkation, because this was a nightmare. So disembarkation, generally speaking, out of Miami, I don't really have a ton of issues getting on or off the ship. This one we had an issue getting on, which was really nobody's fault. It was the customs issue. Getting off, whole nother story. Norwegian was doing construction, something on the top of the ship. So they had a crane blocking the front of the ship because they were putting things on top, so you can't get out on that side. So they had one side to disembark. I don't know if they didn't plan properly for this. Not only did they only have one side, they only had one person scanning key cards to get off the ship. I was not aware of this early in the morning, otherwise I would have gotten in line and left right away. I stayed on board because I was meeting Judy around 9:30, quarter to 10 at the Royal Caribbean terminal. So I walked down around 8:30 to get in line, and the line was all the way down deck 7, all the way back to the front of the ship and wrapping around. So I got in line. I waited in line for 2 hours to disembark the ship. So it took 2 hours to get from the front of deck 7 all the way down to the back of deck 7. There were like 9 rows in the Manhattan room. So you had to wind around the Manhattan room 9 times, basically, and then walk out the door, down deck 7, all the way to the front of the ship, basically, and then get off. So it took me over 2 hours from there. And just to give you a little perspective, I got off of Norwegian Joy at 10:46. I walked from Terminal B to Terminal A, met Judy, went in, checked in, went through X-ray, got our all our stuff done with Royal, and we were on the ship by 11:16. So 30 minutes for me from Terminal B on board the Joy till I was on board the Wonder, and it took me 2 hours to get off of the Joy. That was not a joyous experience, but all in all, I had a wonderful time. We're having a wonderful time here on Wonder. I'll do that debrief in just a few days. Just wanted to give you my quick review and debrief as I just got off the ship. If you have any questions about the NCL Joy, please feel free to comment below or shoot me an email to jp@bytesizecruises.com. We would love to help you plan your next Norwegian adventure with a much more efficient embarkation and disembarkation. Thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy cruising, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.